Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We have been discussing all sorts of civic issues in and around the city. If you want to find Mayor Brandon Scott, you can find that out at Baltimore Positive right now, as well as an incredible conversation with a whole bunch of Baltimore County executives and an Impeach-a-Palooza last week, as well as Harford County Executive Barry Glassman joining us next week as well. As part of our ongoing what the hell happened to the Ravens season segments here, I want to welcome my pal Brian Lease back on from Roofing by Elite. And he's been – you've traveled more with the Ravens in the last 8 weeks than I have. I sort of thought maybe you went up to Buffalo and maybe you let you in there with some purple Zubaz pants or something like that. But, I know your affinity for the team, and this is when it gets really weird, right? Like now what do we do? Now that the season's over, I know in your case, my case, wives are like, oh, that's what a normal Sunday feels like around here, right?
Right. Yeah, it's I guess it's all about free agency and the draft now.
Well, for you with the end of the season and how it went down, I mean, I guess we all view it sort of differently. In my opinion, I didn't think they were ever going to win the Super Bowl. I wasn't of that belief that they were that team this year. So I never anything that would have happened after Saturday would have been a magic carpet ride to me. I thought they were good enough to win, but I still thought the road ahead was sort of fraught with peril for their deficiencies. And at some point, the stopping of Lamar would lead to can they throw the ball, playing against better teams, wind on the road, a night they miss field goals. All the things that go wrong are the things that conspire to knock a team out of the playoffs in January.
Yeah, I feel a little bit differently. I think once we beat Tennessee the way we beat them, being down on the road 10-0, making adjustments, that looked like a totally different team. That looked like a team that was determined to go all the way and win it all. That's how I viewed it. And then the 2019 team that played Tennessee back then showed up in Buffalo for some stupid reason.
Well, the mistakes, the snapping issues, in retrospect, and Luke and I did a piece on this, and I'm going to find JT O'Sullivan, hopefully out in San Diego somewhere where he's coaching my cousin's football team at her high school. He did a pretty extensive breakdown on times Willie Snead was open and wasn't seen, how throwing the ball down the field was just something that Lamar wasn't doing or didn't have the confidence to do given the wind and where the conditions were, and how the wind was swirling. Certainly to see Tucker miss a couple of kicks probably is, sort of ominous when you see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a culmination of so many things. I mean, anything and everything that could go wrong, it did, and that's why it just had shades of the Tennessee Titans playoff game the year before. I mean, everything. People were dropping passes, bad coaching decisions. I mean, you name it, we had it all. And you can't come back from that many mistakes. You're just never going to win. Not in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, it's 10-3. They're driving. They're on the 9-yard line, right? I mean, that pass that Lamar threw, and then the subsequent not being able, to get him down on the ground, that it turned into – 14-point swing, that we would look at that and say, well, they didn't play their best football. Hey, they didn't play their best football in Cleveland, and the Willis Reed situation happened there, right? They didn't really play their best football in Tennessee, but did enough to win, right? This was a circumstance where they scored 3 points. They're down on the goal line. Dobbins missed a block, earlier before that I know we've released Mark Ingram this week. Part of that assignment in this scheme is you can't miss blocks if you're a running back. I mean, that was part of Ray Rice's charm. He didn't miss blocks. It's part of Justin Forsett's charm. He blocked in addition to running. That play will be the thing that knocked them out, but that play had them on the cusp of still playing this week, and me using some of my frequent flyer points to go to Kansas City and probably eating some pretty good barbecue this weekend as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to get past it, and I'm still not past that game because I just knew we were going to win. Too many mistakes. And, I don't put it all on Greg Roman, but I got to be honest, I put a lot on Greg Roman, particularly like that first drive. There was no reason we should have even thrown the ball. There should have been no throwing attempts. We're ripping off 8 and 12 yards at a time. I mean, we were literally going to run the ball right into the end zone on the first drive. And no, they decided to start passing and, go back to, passing when you should be running and running when you should be passing.
Well, it wasn't a great night for the offensive line as well. And to your point, drops, the wind, so that sort of made it not a great night for Lamar. There was that moment where the kid comes in, right? Fourth-string quarterback comes in, finds Hollywood down the side, and you're smelling, well, maybe we're going to get back into this one. And it was not to be. Brian Lease is here. He's roofing by Elite. This is an interesting time to begin. You talk about wind in Buffalo and what winds do to roofs and stuff. It's been a relatively mild winter, right? I mean, for your crew and to be able to get out and work, we've had decent weather conditions. Still not a bad time to get somebody up on a roof and be looking at things, because next couple months might be a little different if you get some ice up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now, this literally could be the calm before the storm. I mean, you know how it is with Maryland weather. I mean, right now, everything's fine. Next week, we may have 36 inches of snow. Who knows?
Get the salt trucks ready.
You might as well, because you just don't know. And the other thing is, yeah, with this wind, we've had some pretty big winds. We've had a bunch of customers with, shingles that have blown off. It's a good time to even just take stock of your own roof, take a walk around, see if you got anything that's blown off. If you do, give us a call. We'll come out and take care of things.
Give me something that would be a sign for a dummy like me to know, like, it's time, or that leaves and gutters, like all of those things. Give me a couple warning signs for someone who's like everyone else other than you, doesn't even realize they have a roof, doesn't think about the roof. None of us think about our roofs, When the oven goes up, we go get an oven, or the stove or whatever, right? Where freezer goes up, you get a freezer. Roof doesn't work that way.
Oh, no. So if you're not experiencing any leaks, and you think everything's fine, again, just take stock, take a look at your roof. I mean, if it looks old, maybe time to at least get it looked at, get an opinion on it. And this way you're kind of prepared for either something that needs immediate attention or something down the road.
Easiest way, online, phone call, what so,
Both
go to
work.
residence in Overly. Yeah, I want to have my roof looked at. It's been too long. What do I do to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, go online, fill out the contact form, or if you want to give us a call, 301-937-4846. If you're like Mike Tyson, you can send a pigeon, whatever you want to do.
Last thing on the Ravens, and I'll let you get back to getting on roofs because I know you're busy. The Lamar Jackson thing, and Harbaugh's had his press conference. We're going to have the Dick DaCosta press conference. When it comes time to giving Lamar money, this is a fascinating, not just a football insider thing, but a fan thing and a value against the league. And I really do wonder, if he were a free agent, how many teams would be chomping at the bit, looking at his talent, the track record, all of that, to say they want to retool their team around him, and how they would feel about him as a $300 million quarterback, as someone to marry and make a commitment. The Ravens are going to marry him. I have no doubt in my mind. Wherever that is, wherever the contract talk is, the Ravens are the kind of team that gets this kind of thing done. But it is a fascinating conversation for what he's accomplished, what his assets are, tremendous, and what his liabilities are, which are also, there are liabilities there, and defensive coordinators have figured this out in January and other points with personnel and with the right team and another team that can run the ball as well, like Derrick Henry last year, that this can be slowed down. You feel like the Ravens are this close. I feel that way. You feel that way. I mean, hell, it's championship game week. Again, I mean, one different kind of play on the goal line in Buffalo and a made kick and whatever, and we're playing football this week. So they're not that far off, but every decision with the salary cap and what's happened with the league and revenue now, all of this is going to become a bigger milkshake, I think, in the offseason, because Lamar's not young anymore. And first contract and all that, a minute ago we're all bitching about paying Flacco. Now all of a sudden Flacco's long gone, and now we got to go pay the next guy.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Lamar's contract status is up right now. I thought that would be a discussion for next offseason, not right now.
No, I think you get him done. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I understand they want to get it done, but I don't understand why they just can't wait until next year. I mean, that's not even a contract year. That's still a year early. But maybe this would help us, for acquiring another free agent this year. I don't know. That's for EDC to decide and not me. All I know is I want Lamar here, for the next 10, 15 years. So whatever it takes is what it takes.
Well, whatever it takes, then you get him done, and then and one of the big questions for Harbaugh was about recruiting a veteran wide receiver. That would a wide receiver want to come into this offense? What would they have to? I mean, look, Antonio Brown's running around catching passes this week from Tom Brady, right? Those. If that player is out there, what role do they find for that player if it's Stephon Diggs part 2, right? We get that player. How does that player affect what they do offensively when they want to run first, run second, maybe run third, and then sometimes pass? And to your point, when they do pass, it is a box of chocolates, especially when you're passing in 30-degree winds in Buffalo on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some questions they need to answer internally as far as Harbaugh and Greg Roman. They need to decide on some plays that need to be thrown out because, look, Greg Roman's not going anywhere as much as people may want to fire him or get rid of him. There's not going to be an assistant for him. That's not going to happen. But I think Harbaugh needs to sit down with him and say, okay, look, you got 50 pass plays. We're throwing half of them out, okay? This thing where you stack receivers one on top of another, that's not working, and it's not. So I think if they sit down, they're two smart guys. They can get this thing figured out and get the passing game going. I think they can do it internally.
Drafting 27th, I've talked about the center position. I know folks are going to always talk about the wide receiver position and how the track record of them drafting for 2 decades isn't good, and it isn't good. But the team's needs and where this offseason is going to be and what they've invested in and, giving the money to Humphrey, giving the money to Stanley, every one of these decisions is pretty key because they do feel like they're close. I mean, unlike a lot of other franchises, including the one down in D.C., the one up in Philadelphia, doesn't even have a coach, right? There's a lot of franchises that are far away. We're not one of them. It just feels that way when you don't win on a Saturday night in Buffalo.
Absolutely. I mean, the draft and free agency is going to be key to get us over the edge. Speaking of edge, I think edge is what you need to draft first and foremost in the first round, 27, and pick up your wide receiver, in free agency. I think that's 100% the way to go. I've got a call into Eric DaCosta. I haven't heard back yet. I'm ready to let him know what I think.
Well, you know what? I'll put the call into him. He's making himself available on Monday along with Dick Cass to do whatever the state of the Ravens. My first question to state of the Ravens is, where's the owner? That would be my question. Why doesn't the owner do this anymore? But, I just ask the tough questions like that. Brian Lease will bring out, tough solutions for your roofing needs as well. He's at Roofing by Elite. You can find him on the interweb at roofingbyelite.com, as well as around here at Baltimore Positive, talking some football and some off-season related issues. 3 football games left for us junkies. We don't even get that lousy Pro Bowl this year that Luke and I get to make fun of every year at the Super Bowl. And no Radio Row this year, but we are going to have some fun, Brian. You'll like this. It's the 20-year anniversary of the Super Bowl. So, in my phone are probably about 35 or 40 of those people. So being able to reach out to the Brandon Stoklys and the Dwayne Starks and the Marvin Lewises and the Jack Del Rios, I'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks. And those are good memories, right? I mean, where were you that day?
100%. I'm sorry?
Where were you that day?
2012?
2001.
2001. I was actually in Edgemere at a private club where we just took the whole place and turned it in. We rented out a big screen. That was just a great big party.
Nice. If it's the club that was on the left across from the elementary school, right on the way in, is that the one there?
Yeah.
My buddy Steve Gibson got married there back in like 76, 77. Cool. So, yeah, I have some memories in Edgemere as well. The fire department all the way down. You know what? Don Moeller was down at Sparrows Point for a number of years as well. So we all have memories going down there. Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Keep the roof safe. I know we're into the off season here. There is no off season. And, hey, at least we get to hate on Tom Brady on Sunday night, right?
Oh, that's great.
A little bit of that. and the Browns aren't winning anything. So that, at least I got that thing figured out. Brian Lease here for Roofing by Elite, joining us as he always does, talking some Ravens football. Take care of your roofing needs as well, residential and commercial. You can find me on the interweb, nasty at WNST.net. Luke and I got all things Ravens covered, as well as all things Baltimore. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott was on with us this week, as well as the leader of the Senate, Bill Ferguson, talking all things Kerwin, as well as the new administration in D.C. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570. Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Ravens offseason needs and Baltimore positive.